In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make a movie clip like this from a first-person perspective, how to add your own portrait like the Joker here, and then how to add a custom character with its own unique set of animations. So go to the marketplace in your Epic Games launcher and search for the Megascan's apartment asset. Once you find it, you can click it and create a project with it. Create the project, and then in your library, look for the project and open it up. Then it will compile shaders forever and it will take a really long time. And once the scene opens up, it will be white and slowly you will start seeing colors. To hide all of these icons you're seeing, you can press G on your keyboard and that will hide everything, or you can press G again to unhide them. Now, if you look around the scene, you'll see it's already beautifully set up. You don't really have to do much here. The lighting is all there, the props are all there. But if you want to, you can select any object and move them around, rotate them, scale them, and modify the scene however you wish. So moving on to the portrait of the Joker, you can create a poster or a painting from any image on your computer. So here on my desktop, I have an image of the Joker, which you can simply drag and drop into your content browser like this. And that will automatically create a texture for you, which you can pretty much drag wherever you want. So if we go up here and create a new basic shape and select cube, and then find your cube in the scene and drag it to wherever you want. This will basically be your painting. So I'm gonna drag it over here, and then we're gonna scale it a little bit so it looks more like a painting and less like a cube. And then you can simply drag and drop that texture that you created with the image on top of the cube, and voila, it becomes a painting. Now, to make this painting blend in a little bit more with the scene, you could, for example, use these sticks that are already very conveniently placed here for you, and you can resize them and scale them to create a wooden frame around the painting so that it looks like it belongs a little bit more in this room. Once you're happy with the result, we're gonna start making the movie. So what you wanna do is go up here, click this little icon and add level sequence. You can name it whatever you want. And this will give you the sequencer. And now we want to have a camera. So you go up here, you click the plus button and all classes and find the camera actor. There's also a cine camera that we're going to talk about in a different tutorial, but for this one we use camera actor. And then you'll see this little frame appearing here. That means that your camera is in the world. Now we go to the left of the screen and find the track button, and then go actor to sequencer. So what this does is that it senses your last selected actor in the scene, in this case the camera, and that's why it's appearing here. So feel free to click on that. And now you've added a camera, so your perspective is from inside the camera, you're piloting it. So in the very left top corner, you can see that it says pilot active camera actor 4, which means that you're piloting it. So you can move back to your scene, you can press F11 to go full screen and F11 to go back. Now down here is your sequencer. If you've ever used a video editing software, you will recognize some of the functions. And down to your left, you will find the camera actor that we added before. So here in your camera component, you have a section called transform. And in there, it will be location, rotation, and scale. This is what will determine your camera movement. So let me demonstrate how. And let's say you want the camera to move forward towards the portraits. You want to have like a forward motion. Then what you do is to make sure that transform is selected, so it's highlighted in blue here, and then press S on your keyboard and you will see 3 red dots appearing. And then move forward a little bit in your scene and press S again, and then you see 3 additional dots. Now if you move back in the timeline and press space, you will see that now you have a forward motion. So let's keep building on this. Let's say that when you're here, you want the camera to look to your right. So then what you do is just look to your right with the camera and press S again. And now you'll see that it will go from point A to point B and then look to the right. And let's say now that from this point you want to move back to the portrait in a close-up. So then you move to wherever you want and you press S once again. So what happens now is that we go forward, look right and snap to the portrait. But let's say you think this went too slow or too fast. So what you can do is that you can select all of these keyframes, these red dots, and move them around. And as you see, I moved them all closer to each other and then it went really fast. Or you can separate them apart and you will have slower movements. So feel free to experiment with this to understand the flow. So let's get creative with this. Let's say that you want your camera to be a first-person character so that when he or she moves forwards, you have a little bit of this rocking motion that you would expect from someone moving forward in a game or in a movie. What we do then is that between your first set of keyframes and your last set of keyframes, basically your point A to point B, you can go to your transform and open up the rotation section. Here you have roll, pitch and yaw. So if you move forward a couple of frames and then adjust the roll a little bit to your left or right, then move a couple of frames more and then adjust the roll to the opposite direction, and you keep doing this, or you copy paste your previous keyframes and make sure they're in line after each other, you get this sort of rocky effect back and forth that is too strong now, but it's just for the purpose of demonstration. You can also play around with tweaking the jaw, which will move the camera to the left or right. And if you tweak all of these at the same time, you can move the direction of the camera wherever you want. Moving on to how to add a character to the scene and animate them. Open up your Epic Games launcher again and look for Paragon. I use the Kalari model and they're all for free. And you can add them to your project and then find the blueprint model in your character folder. Drag them out to your scene, rotate them however you want, open the detail panel and look for the animation mode and put it on Use Animation Asset. I'm gonna scale my character down a little bit. Then go back to your sequencer and click Track, Actor to Sequencer, and add Kalari Blueprint here. So again, it will add the last selected blueprint. Now go to the Animation tab here, and here if you click the Animation tab, you will see that there is a bunch of animations. I will select the Walk Forward animation, and then here on your timeline now, you can stretch that animation out, and if you play it, you will see now that the animation is playing as well. Now if you go to the transform section, just like you did with your camera before, you can select your character model and then place it wherever you want in the scene. Press S, just like you did with the camera, and then move the character wherever you want it to go. So in my case, I'll move it a bit forward, and then I'll press S again. And now if I play it, you'll see that the walking animation gets combined with the movement. Now let's say you want him to play another animation once he has moved. So I'll adjust the animation to my keyframes. I'll select a new animation, Ultimate for example. And here, if I placed Ultimate directly after the movement, he'll jump up and do a new animation. Now you might think the animation is too fast, so you can right click, go to properties and adjust the play rate to whatever you want. In this case I'll do 0.3 and then you'll see that it's more of a slow motion jump. Then you can see here that the character is added in my scene and from my camera's perspective is moving a little bit forward and doing this weird jump. And that's all for this tutorial. Thank you for watching and see you soon.